We're live.
Not live yet. It's pulling up. Okay. Hello, everyone. Once again for another session of Body Mastery with Stan. And today, Stan, what are we going to be talking about with regards to body hacks?
Well, I want to talk about the body mastery and what are the three simple elements that we can bring into that. And number one, it's looking at our nutrition. And then you, Dr. Michelle, you know how vitally important nutrition is and what we're eating and what we're supplementing. We can be actually taking supplements, and I'm sure you've seen this. People are taking supplements, but they're eating processed meats. And so they're contradicting. It's kind of like throwing water on a grease fire. It won't work, and it will spread. And that inflammation that's in our body, if we're taking high quality supplements, but we're feeding it disproportionate amount of nutrition, we're defeating the purpose, and we're actually throwing money away. So nutrition is something that I would definitely want people to take a look at. What's in your refrigerator, what's in your pantry, what are the products, what are the elements that are in that food that are giving you the experience that you're having. And food is so directly correlated with what our body is able to produce, and the fuel that we give it creates the outcome that we have. So what is your thought on that? Because I'd like for the audience to hear what your thought is, as you, I'm positive that this is, like the pinnacle of what you present. So
I love that you bring up this concept of foundations, really and truly. And all too often, people are looking for band-aids, and supplements are another form of band-aid. Unfortunately, what I tell people is that you can't focus on the supplements in lieu of, or should I say, instead of real food. Or it's like the morning after pill. I'm going to eat crap. I'm going to go to Mickey D's. I'm going to pick out a Golden Corral, eat pizza, whatever it is. And oh, by the way, I'm taking my supplement, so it should be all good, right?
right,
No, not at all.
right,
And what we want to emphasize here is that it's not simply about quote unquote supplementing the nutrients that are missing from your foods. It's also about the fact that these so-called foods, what I actually refer to as consumables, are creating havoc in the body that's beyond just the deficiency. And it would be fine if it were just kind of like a net zero kind of situation where they're not really doing anything bad. And so, you just take your supplements to bring yourself back up to the level that you need. But unfortunately, these foods that we're consuming are having significant detriment to our bodies. And ultimately, it factors into everything that we're talking about here with body mastery. So love it.
yeah. The whole idea behind a supplementation is to enhance what is already there.
Yeah.
So if you are supplementing something that's bad, it's like you said, it zeroes out, or even it doesn't zero out, because it becomes a cost rather than an investment. And so we're not getting the benefit of it because we're contradicting it. So yes, I love that. The other element is, and I wanted to do it in order. So nutrition and then hydration. Hydration is, we've talked about this before, but I cannot emphasize enough. And I think that it's something that we need to be reminded of over and over again, not because we're not smart human beings, but because we get into these paces where we forget about, until we go, I am thirsty. When your body says, and you say it out loud, I am thirsty, you are probably already dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
So it is kind of like that dummy light on says, you're already probably in trouble if you are in between Bodunk and Alamabodunk, and now you got 1 gallon less gasoline, and you just passed the last gas station for the next 35 miles, and that light comes on. So if we don't pay attention to our gauge as we're going through the day, and that gauge is, if you start to forget things, you know you're dehydrated. If you start to have brain fog, you know you're dehydrated. If you feel fatigued or wore out, you're dehydrated. And if you start getting headaches, headaches, my gosh, headaches, the main cause of headaches are dehydration. And understanding that the brain is 80% in water. And if you feel like you're thirsty, your brain is already suffering. That's just a fact. And so keeping that hydration going, and you say, well, Stan, I can drink water, then it'll make me pee all day. Well, the reason that it does that is because your bladder has decreased. But as you start to expand that, and you start to expand that wall, that bladder wall, now your body is able to contain it, to hold it more. And it's not going to make you pee all day, every day for the rest of your life. But if you dehydrate yourself, now you add a little bit of water, it wants to get rid of it because it's shrunk, because your body's not able to absorb it. So hydration is a key factor. What is your thought on that, Dr. Michelle?
Well, absolutely. When we talk about hydration, people underestimate the simple things in life.
Right.
You can go without food for months, actually. We've all heard the story of Gandhi, who went without food, in protest. But you can't go really long without water. So that is to tell you how essential it is to the body, and to realize that the body is 70 to 80% water. When we look at the world, our globe, again, 70 to 80% water. This shows you the essential nature of water. Another thing to keep in mind, a lot of times when we are looking at the body, one of the ways to discern that you're dehydrated, in need of water, is the pain. When you have a lot of back pain or pain in your joints and things of that nature, a lot of times it's because you're not drinking enough water. So in the spinal cord, we have our discs. And a lot of times people get problems with their discs because their discs are dehydrated. And when you have those discs and they kind of like shrink because of the dehydration, that is when you have the pinching of the nerves. And that is when you have significant amount of pain. So before it gets to that point of being so painful, to just keep in mind to remain hydrated throughout the day. So this means that you're not simply drinking gobs and gobs of water at one time. It's about slowly hydrating throughout the day. What I tell people is, drink a glass of water every hour or two. And then by the end of the day, you would have drunk your quota, which is, usually speaking, if you are, say, 150 pounds, you want to drink 75 ounces of water. So your water intake should be half of what your weight is in terms of ounces.
Yeah. And the simple way that you can monitor this, because whatever you don't monitor, you cannot measure. So the idea is to take and put your water in, let's say, 3 mason jars or 4 mason jars, and take your water out of that and pour it into the cup that you're drinking out of. And as you begin to watch, now you're able to monitor, because you've already set up your quota for the day. So set it on the counter, operate out of that, or a pitcher, but know what the measurement is, because typically most people will say, yeah, I drink a lot of water today. And I'm like, how much did you drink? Oh, I drink plenty. Well, I went to even Dr. Google, and I said, define for me plenty. And it says cannot find. Okay. Plenty in one person.
And the other thing to keep in mind when you're drinking.
Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. I was saying another thing to keep in mind is that when you're drinking water, you want to make sure that there are electrolytes in the water.
Yeah.
You know, so one of the things that I do a lot of times is I put, as you can see here, I have lemon in my water. And I drink that throughout the day, not only because it helps to flush out the liver, activate the liver detoxification pathways, but also because it helps to add ions to the water to help with the absorption into your tissues. So that's another thing to consider, because sometimes people are drinking a lot of water, but they're not absorbing the water into their cells. And a
Yeah.
lot of times that is because they are not drinking with electrolytes. So you can also put in a dash of sea salt, and that also helps to give you those electrolytes to help with the absorption of the water into the cells.
Yeah, and it's also the quality of the water that you're drinking. So, it's a simple thing, but know the quality of the water that you're drinking. If you're drinking tap water, understand what's in your tap water. Understand what your water quality is like. And, I know there's a lot of different water places like Culligan or Connecticut or different places that will do a water test, and they can actually give you a tester tube, and you can take a sample of your water and take it down there and have it tested. It's a simple test, and even if they charge a little bit, knowing the quality of what you're putting into your body, it is making sure that you're not defeating your purpose and you're not adding chemicals. So, some water districts have high content of chlorine, some have high content of fluoride. Different chemicals that are in that water can make the experience completely different. So one of the things that I do is that I love biohacking stuff. So I have this, I have reverse osmosis water, but I also have this little stick. It's called an annihilate stick. And what it does is it makes the water coherent. And so I take this stick in, and it's in it's called mother water, and it's in a lead crystal glass, and it's very fragile, but you can stir it around. And for 30 ounces of water, it takes 1 minute. So I do 96 ounces of water every morning into a container, and I stir that around for 3.5 minutes. And what it does is it makes the water coherent, because most water is incoherent. And when you have anything that's incoherent going into a coherent property, there is that here again. It's taking supplements and eating processed meat. Okay, so you're combating, you're defeating some of the purposes that you're doing. So that's a simple thing that I do. Now the stick is like $175, $25 shipping. I'm not trying to sell it to you on it, but I am telling you that there is a major difference, and it makes the water actually smooth when you drink it. I love it. I've had it almost a year, and I don't drink any water without it. So I carry it with me. I make my water. I carry my own water with me when I go places, and I'm okay with that. I want to drink quality water. That's my thing. So, so we talked about the nutrition, and we talked about hydration. And one thing I'm really want to press in is the quality of sleep. Sleep is so overlooked, and it's a restoring of your body. It's resetting. The very thing that's stealing your focus, that's creating brain fog, that's creating, and I'm really diving into this a little bit, because when we look at the decline of the attention span, the three things that control that are: one, nutrition; number two, our water, our hydration; and third is the quality of sleep that we're getting. Now, when I was a little kid, we would go to school. We'd be there at, I think it was like 8:30 or 9 o'clock when our classes started. And so kids were getting on the bus at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, getting picked up and then bused to the school to start at 8:30 or 9 o'clock. We get out at 3:30. Now kids are in class at 8 o'clock. They're getting on the school bus at 6 o'clock. for kids that are living in the rural area. They're getting on the bus at 6 o'clock. So that means they're getting up at 5:30 at minimum to get that kid some quick, what we call nutrition, a Pop-Tart or some waffles, Lego My Ego. And then we're sending them off to a school, and then we're telling them to sit down, shut up, and do what you're told. And we wonder why their attention span is not optimal. Well, number one, they're not getting quality sleep. They're going to bed hyped up, and they toss and turn. And if you notice brain fog, if you notice a lack, there's this thing that is called local sleep. You can look like you're awake, but immediately you like doze off for just a second. Well, what's happening is there's a part of your brain that's falling asleep in that moment, and it takes you a few minutes to get reoriented. Why is that happening? Because your body is saying you're being deficient in these areas. And if you're deficient in sleep, it's the most overlooked topic. And I hope to really bring this and drive this home to your audience, because it is so overlooked. And we're seeing more and more studies proving this. And, doing what I do, these are the things that I'm asking people. I'm wanting to know what the quality of sleep they are, what the quality of water they're bringing in, and what's the quality of nutrition they're putting in their body. So, any take on that?
That's such a key point. Yeah, again, people underestimate the impact of not sleeping. We look at our kids. I wish it were just simply about, them waking up early for the school bus. But in reality, our children aren't sleeping at night. They're on their phones, on their devices, scrolling, chatting with each other, whatever. And so even if it were just a matter of going to bed and waking up at 5:30 in the morning, they would be okay, because, they could go to bed early, but they don't. I remember when my children were that age, I would shut down the internet. The internet was off at 9 o'clock at night. All homework had to be done by then. 9 o'clock, you're in bed, you're sleeping, and they were perfectly fine doing it that way, even though they had to wake up, like you said, early because we were in a rural area to catch the school bus. Now, the other thing for people to recognize, and I see this because I deal a lot with people who have metabolic issues like high blood pressure, high diabetes, autoimmune conditions, weight issues, things of that nature. Everything in your body, all of the systems of your body are affected by sleep deprivation. So whether it be the neurotransmitters in your brain, the hormones in your body. So a lot of times people don't realize that if you don't get enough sleep, your blood glucose levels are going to be impacted. You're going to wake up with higher levels of blood sugar in your system. Your other hormones, whether it be the leptin in your body that controls how your body is dealing with fat and whether or not you're converting yourself into fat, and whether or not you're getting that sense of hunger and things of that nature with ghrelin and stuff like that. So those hormonal cycles are affected. Your melatonin cycle is affected by whether or not you're getting sufficient sleep. Your detoxification pathways are affected. That's the time when your body has reserved for you to shut down so that the cleaning crew can go into the office building and clean all of the office rooms. If nobody goes home and everybody stays there working in the office building, the cleaning crew can't do their work. So if you are not sleeping, your liver can't do what it needs to do. Your kidneys can't do what they need to do. That is time also when your intestinal system is supposed to have its cleaning crew go through in terms of its peristaltic movement and in terms of the little brushes that go through. They don't start to wave the bacteria and all of those things through unless there is a period of time of not eating. And most people are eating constantly, even into the night. And so the intestinal tract never gets a break to actually clean out itself and to help to reset. So that's the other thing, that your body is not resetting. Your mind is not having that time to shut down, to be able to relax and to reset, to recharge. So sleep is critical, and there is no way that you are going to heal effectively, that you are going to be at your optimal performance if you do not sleep. All of the little pills, all of the little drinks, the caffeine, and all of those things, they're literally allowing you the illusion of burning on empty. That is like driving your car on fumes instead of saying, you know what, it's time to pull into the gas station and fuel up. So I could not emphasize it more. Like you said, the importance of sleep. You can't cheat Mother Nature. I know you think that you can. I know we believe we can with all the little coffee and all those and the thing, the donuts or whatever. But Mother Nature's gonna catch up to you. And I would prefer for you to go along with Mother Nature than end up in the hospital. And I'm not over exaggerating. Trust me on that.
Yeah, that's the truth of it. You know, when we think about, you know, we want to ask these questions. Why is nobody talking about this? And I want to say that it's not that nobody is talking about it. It's just your proximity of those that are talking about it and who you have, you know, we've been indoctrinated. We've been taught to go to a facility or a building or a place that has a lot of rooms in it with a lot of people that wear white coats that have more degrees than a thermometer. And we've entrusted our higher self, our higher thinking, our higher abilities into the hands of somebody that doesn't know us, doesn't love us. Now, for somebody to know you, they have to know you more than once a visit every quarter. If you only visited somebody once a quarter, would you call them your best friend? I'd say no. And if I had to pay you to visit you, you're definitely not my best friend. So your best friend is yourself, that person that's in the mirror. And that's the person that has the most power. And, you know, I have a theory why this is not being asked or taught in the mainstream is because they don't make money if you're healthy. They don't make money if you take your power into your own hands. And so by doing the simple things, sleep, looking at what we're eating, knowing what we're eating, and knowing the nutrition, the hydration that we're getting, and adding those electrolytes. You know, supplementation is to supplement what's there. And if what's there is not good, then we need to get rid of that. And this is a body hack. These are simple, almost cheap, free things that you can do to take that power back. And then when you do, and you come and visit somebody like myself or Dr. Michelle, now you are even better equipped to get the results and the outcome that you're desiring. And simple monitoring and measuring makes all the difference.
Absolutely. Well, Stan, I am so appreciative of you for taking the time to help us to remember the foundational concepts of what builds actual health and what helps us to have body mastery, because there's no point getting into all of the quote unquote sexy stuff if we are not dealing first and foremost with these foundational pillars. And so thank you once again. And you guys, we look forward to being with you once again next month for Body Mastery with Stan. Until then, peace and blessings.
We'll see.